told me about having McDonald's with Usain Bolt. Welcome to today's Woodpecker WODCast with Charles and Joe. Without further ado, I'm more than excited to welcome my close friend and Olympian, shall I add in there, Commonwealth medalist, no doubt, and as we've discussed prior to this, global traveller just playing rugby, Amy Wilson-Hardy. And
he doesn't wash and doesn't have clean clothes.
And producer Joe, no doubt, the other end of the mic for me, doing all the techie stuff. Joe, that is a nice hoodie. Where did you get that from, mate?
Oh, I don't know, some woodpecker or something.
Right, yeah, that's not the plug I wanted, is it? Cool in a minute. But Amy, rough and ready, straight off a rugby pitch. What is it like to be classed as an elite athlete during COVID? Because you're lucky right now.
I am. I'm extremely lucky. I've been. I feel like we've been on a bit of a roller coaster in the sporting world, as has everyone. So, not making any complaints. But I'm now in the fortunate position that I'm still able to get out there, as you can see from being straight off the field. So feel mainly very privileged just to be able to see my friends and do what I love still, while everyone else is having to stay inside. Obviously, we still have to be really strict, and we're just about to start a rigorous testing regime so we can keep playing. And training is not quite the same as normal. We're socially distanced and have to hand sanitize every 5 minutes, but it means that I can do what I love. And as I said, see my friends 3 times a week. So no complaints coming from this end.
I mean, if you wanted to play a contact sport without rucks and balls, you could have just played rugby league.
True.
Absolute plug. Coming from a league at heart.
Here they're a bit soft in league, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well, the beef has started and I'm all here for it.
Joe, the reason I bring something like that up is the first time I met Amy was, I'm going to say it was May 30th, 2009. It was
obviously an extremely memorable day.
It must have been good, yeah.
Well,
the reason I know the date is there was a big incident in my life about 2-3 days before that. Me and my close friend Ewan had just found out what was going on, and we turned up at this party, met Amy. You know, Amy was giving it the big one. I play rugby, this and that. I was like, come on then.
Definitely don't. I don't tell anyone I play rugby.
If you fancy your chances, like, just run a hard line at me and vice versa. And I'll be honest, I didn't come off the best out of it all.
I think you did better than Ewan did, put it that way.
So Ewan got absolutely bounced, looked like Beetlejuice. And yeah, so, you know, that's where our friendship and our history began all those moons ago. You know, we've both been on different journeys. Yours has been, let's say, an incredible roller coaster in front of a lot more people than mine. So tell us really about, let's go for the pinnacle. Let's start off with the very height of how proud you feel, like your greatest achievement.
I think, I don't think I know what it is. It's a bittersweet memory in many ways, but going to the Olympic Games in Rio, I mean, in my opinion, like, you can't top that in terms of it's something, it's right at the pinnacle of sport. And I think the fact that it came around so quickly. So rugby, as you know, well, female rugby had never been in it, but men's rugby hadn't been in it for years. I think they had a kind of, nothing that we can remember. So suddenly rugby was in the Olympics, sevens that I was playing and I was loving. And it created, not only was it just the Olympics, but it was a huge momentum push in female sport. And it enabled us to become professional athletes, which is something that I just never envisaged, never imagined. I've always played rugby because I love it. I did it alongside studying. So I was studying at the time. I was at Bath Uni, and we kind of just went for camps, kind of a camp attached to a tournament. Off we went, bit of a jolly. Obviously taking it serious when we were there, but suddenly we were got offered these contracts being full-time professional athlete. So you can imagine it's not just the excitement of the build-up for Rio, but we were doing this as a job. We're doing what we love. And don't get me wrong, it was really blimmin' tough sometimes. You want to cry, and I'm sure there's many tears actually on the pitch, be it from not being able to run anymore, just damn frustration of kind of if you're having a bad day, but the highs massively make up for those kind of negative times or times that you struggled. And then to culminate the year of being a professional athlete into or 2 years going to Olympic Games, getting the nod. And I was lucky because I found form at the right time. I was just loving playing rugby. I was kind of playing lots and lots of minutes and just went in with so much confidence. And obviously, as you know, Charlie, we came fourth. So that's the bittersweet part. It's a really tough place to come.
We'll get to the place in a minute. Let's not
looking back on it, I think like just everything that encompasses the Olympics, exactly how kind of you expect and more. Team GB especially, they put so much effort into making it such an incredible experience for you. There's places outside the Olympic Village that are dedicated for families. So there's this British House, which is this amazing building, a courtyard in the middle, and you looked up to the courtyard and you saw Christ the Redeemer. And this was a place where you could meet your families, and it was just mental. So you'd go on they had a coach that led you there. You'd jump on the coach, meet your family in this incredible building. There was food, like buffet food for the families. Obviously, we had to be careful, but yeah, just I think everything around it, and then of course the games themselves, and kind of pinching yourself still 4 years later, 5 years later.
You're standing there looking up at Christ the Redeemer while we're all got, the Olympics on at home. What do you think took it for you to get to that point to enjoy that moment, like compared to anyone else that just took up rugby and just fancied it? Because you didn't set out to be professional, you just set out to enjoy it, like most people do. But what was it that separated you, that got you there, do you think?
I think I wouldn't say I had setbacks, but I had like challenges, as we all do in sport. And I think you realise early on with these kind of challenges what you actually want. And although, as you said, although I never went out to be a professional player, it's because I never thought there was the opportunity to be a professional player. So as soon as there was that opportunity, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. That's so cool. I don't think it's like, I think it's more like I'm damn competitive, and I love doing it. And I knew that I had something. I knew that I was decent at something. And as you all know, if you know you're good at something, then you're going to push harder for it. And if you're enjoying it at the same time, you're going to keep going. And I realised that my only kind of like obstruction was myself, and I was going to just put my head down, work hard, and kind of prove a point.
Oh man, this like, of all the podcasts to start off with it, having someone literally open up saying, I was just chilling in the middle of Brazil and like had an epiphany. I'd made it. Like, that's like such a cool way to start off. Like, I'm super excited to hear that. But like, it really is the perfect balance of an intrinsic desire to achieve, to enjoy, to keep going. But then all of a sudden, the fact that the Olympics becomes available, there's professional contracts. It's the perfect match of extrinsic motivation. Like, if I do play well, I might be able to achieve this greatness, which is resembled at, representing Great Britain, but also I still just want to be the best player I can be. I still want to be a part of a team. I still want to keep improving. So, wow, that's as opening stories go. I'm not really going to,
I know you've got some incredible people, so I'm excited to hear the other people and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Like, I've got a few people up the sleeve, but knowing you for so long and to see you succeed, you get this sense of warmth. You're like, yeah, I was there when you were on crutches. Like, I played a sevens tournament, just a touch local charity game that I could play in and you couldn't because you were injured. And a year later, you said, it doesn't matter where I'm at, I'm coming back. And you played the year after. I've seen you through those small hiccups and injuries and setbacks, but you still made it all the way. So when you found out about Japan being delayed,
lockdown started badly for me. I felt like after, and I'm sure we'll go on to like a few ups and downs in my career. The start of the year, I was playing good rugby again. I was really getting on with Charlie, our head coach at the time, and just was kind of finding my mojo, as it were. Hate that expression, but kind of had evolved my game a bit. I'm older now, and there's some different kind of athletes coming in, so kind of was finding my groove again, really loving it. Then obviously COVID happened, but it was actually as it's a weird one. So we went into training on the Monday. I got a call from my dad after training. It was like, your grandma's really ill. She's in hospital. I don't think she's going to last much longer. Can you get down here? And look, my gran, she's 98. She's wow. She's had incredible innings, and but obviously, like, I was really, she spent a lot of my childhood when mum and dad were working. My gran would look after me. It was really close to us. I was like 100% message Charlie, being like, look, I've taken all my training stuff down with me, so I can get to training in the morning. I just needed to go down tonight, but obviously I want to give you the heads up. And Charlie being Charlie, he's like, look, there's more to life than rugby. You do what you need to. This is family time. We're here for you. And I was like really appreciative. But the irony is that I got down there, and then we got a call from Simon Amor, who at the time leading the program, being like, we're off. COVID's begun. That was when we started off training. We heard rumours. We're like, nah, it's not going to happen to us. Like, because at the time we didn't know, did we? So I managed to. It kind of helped me at first in a way, because it meant that I had 2 weeks of my gran held on for a long time, and what we thought was going to be one night ended up being 2-3 weeks. So in fact, initially it helped me and enabled me to spend that precious time there for my gran and be there for my dad, because my gran actually lived. My dad had converted the whole top of his house for my gran to live in. So wow. It's also like he was on his own without her. And so got to spend that time. And it was just after she passed. I think it was literally 2 days before she passed that really strict lockdown came in. So I think the last couple of days, Dad and I were like trying to get into hospital, and you could just feel like the tension building as COVID happened. So I was kind of, and then my gran passed away. And although, as I said, she had a great, amazing innings, obviously doesn't start off a lockdown in the best way. And then initially, we thought the Olympics was still going to happen, so we had that motivation. We kept training, had loads of Zoom calls, and it was really good. There was a really positive feel still. As these weeks kept ticking by, we were kind of like, although we got nothing confirmed, the likelihood of anything happening in the summer, we realised it was going to be very slim. And then it hits you, and you're like, okay, what am I training for now? I don't know. Like, you have this year, and obviously the build up in that year for the Olympics is huge, and you've got so much excitement building, and suddenly it's all crashed down. You're like, athletes need an end goal. That's what they're training for. Like, they need that motivation. And I've always, me, Charlie, I've always loved training. Like, I love putting myself in a hole, not quite as extreme as your holes with your stuff, but seven's obviously about that. It's about getting yourself into that really hard, dark place, and basically keeping your legs going, keep that mental strength while you're still under enormous fatigue. And I was like, where's my motivation? I've never felt like this. I didn't know what to do with myself. I got up wanting to train, but then I was like, yeah, but what am I training for? I'm doing the same sessions. Like, what am I peaking for? How long am I going to peak for? When do I get my deload? Nothing was clear. And it's through nobody's fault. Our strength conditioning coach did a good job, but he didn't know any more than we did. We're like, when are we going back into training? And then it kept going like that until, the chat started. It was like, the RFU's in bad financial trouble. What's going on? So this kept going, and all of these whispers going round. And then come the end of August, no program at all. And we're all just sitting there like, what has the last 6 months been about? Like, we're very fortunate we were furloughed, but so we managed to keep the mortgage paid and everything. But then suddenly we're like, well, yeah.
When you say no program, just summarise really what that means for someone listening in that hasn't been putting in those hours, that's not been in the room. What does no program mean to you? And to what nth degree did it impact you? I
think, so from the outside, I know a lot of people see our lives as extremely glamorous. We're traveling the world, we're playing sevens. It's don't get me wrong, it's the dream job. I absolutely love it. But it's not quite that easy. Like, we have a dress code every day. We have an exact time that we're going to go in, and our day is planned hour by hour, minute by minute. Everything is planned from the session to every single final detail. We like organisation, we like structure. That's how we work. That's how we push through. We don't, especially the women's program at the time, don't earn a huge amount of money at all. Like, and I never ever would do it for the money. But I mean, it's not glamorous in that sense. Again, you kind of see professional athlete, you assume that they're on the big bucks and living the life, and it's not like that. So we've suddenly gone from not a lot to nothing, and I have to decide what to wear each day. No, but I have to suddenly I'm used to having this like extreme routine, and suddenly I'm now like left with nothing. But the thing that I struggled with the most, and I struggled with when I was dropped before, which again we'll go on to, but is the fact that the Olympics are still happening. It's just a year later. So therefore, it's not like I just move on with my life. I'm not just going to go and get a desk job 9 to 5. I still want to go to the Olympics. I want to train as hard as I can. I want to be the best version of me. But at the same time, I'm feeling so unmotivated. I've lost that kind of mojo that we mentioned before. I'm like, what do I do now? Like literally, you're just kind of looking in front of you. And I did an interview the other day actually for the Rugby Journal, and it was a similar sense, because it was when all that kind of uproar about what the government said about people in the entertainment industry in terms of just retraining. And it's like, well, no, you train, you dedicate your whole life to this. There's things that you're not able to do as an athlete that you don't think twice about, because you've got an incredible life and you've got an opportunity to compete at the top level. But you don't just retrain, and you can't just pop into an office and be like, oh yeah, can I have a job? I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have like an engineering degree, so I've got something to fall back on. But at the same time, I don't want to go into an engineering job. One, I graduated in 2015, so I'd have to catch up a lot. I'd start at the bottom, but I'd be working in, like we said, at least a 9 to 5, if not, you never know, like in long hours, the hours getting longer and longer, not able to train properly and still wanting to get to this Olympics. So I'm kind of thinking, how can I live the lifestyle that I want and still pay for the roof that's in my head? Don't let my payments, I've got to pay my mortgage, I've got to pay my bills, I've got to do that. And then that's yeah, that's a big ask.
Bloke's going to eat a lot.
you suddenly get into this like conundrum in front of you. You're not ready to move on. I'm not ready to retire. I can't just walk away from this. So that's kind of, it's more like that. It's how do we find now solutions to do what we still can whilst not being a professional?
Yeah, well, I've followed your journey. I've been on some of your calls. I've seen you adapt to it. So it is nice to see. But if you go back to your early days at Worthing, if you were to rock up at Worthing Rugby Club, Joe, there's your little link in, by the way. Producer Joe used to play down at Worthing before we all done injuries.
Till the age of about 15, and then I was still too lanky and weedy and just got absolutely ruined by men's rugby.
Prime for a dump tackle.
Yeah, perfect target.
No, don't go to sevens. So you're going to turn back up. Let's say you're going to go back to Worthing next year. Not only do young girls look up for you, you are in that first real prime bunch of people that were given professional contracts. The first lot of women in the country to get professional rugby contracts. You're now talking to the younger version. Not only do you just inspire them because you're on that cusp and you're that wave, what would you say to them to help them with their like mental kind of like side, like their abilities, like if there's things they're struggling with, external pressures? Like I would hate, and I mean hate, to be a youngster right now because it's so difficult. You've got all these social media influences, like trying to be people that you're not, just to improve to other people that you don't even know that you're having the best life. Like they're going to have all these external pressures. What would you say to them when they're just starting out on their rugby journey that's not only going to help them to continue their rugby journey, but kind of like develop their mental strength in their game?
I think it always sounds, I think, a bit cliched and everything when I say this, and I've always stuck to it though, and it is enjoyment. I think especially as a young girl early on, there shouldn't be any pressures in terms of you should use rugby because you enjoy it. And if you're putting too much pressure on yourself to perform, then you need to take a step back and think why you're doing something. And I've learnt the hard way on that as well. And I can speak from experience in the sense that, like, after I got dropped from the sevens program, so I was dropped at the end after the Sevens World Cup in the Commonwealth Games year, so 2018. I ended up only being out of the program for a couple of months before I was asked back. But it kind of, when I got back into it, I took everything way too seriously. I know that sounds weird as a professional athlete, but I forgot how to have fun and enjoy myself. And like those words that Charlie said when I went down to see my grandma, it's more to life than rugby. I think I would used to be scared to say that because I think that people would be judging me for not being professional enough or everything like that. But no, when I look back on the best years of my career were when I was completely relaxed. I just was having fun. Like obviously, that, as I said, there's still choices you have to make. It's not like I'm going out every week and getting smashed and then turning up to training hungover. Of course not. But I would make time to see friends. I would, let my hair down a few times and actually enjoy those moments. And then when you're more relaxed and you're enjoying something, you're going to do well in it. You're going to do better in it. And so, although I'm talking at a professional level, it's exactly the same for these young girls or boys playing. You can't put too much pressure on yourself. You've got to just realize why you play the game. And if you don't, take a step back. If you're not enjoying it, take a step back and see, is it for me? Is it? Or am I just doing this because my mates are doing it, because my parents want me to do it? Maybe your brother or your sister has played before and you just kind of automatically got into that trend. Like, don't be afraid to say it's not for me, but equally, don't be afraid to just reevaluate things and think about your whys, think about why you're doing things, and actually just make sure that enjoyment is there and the rest will follow.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Like,
it's inspiring for me to listen to be honest.
So we've talked about standing in the middle of Rio on top of the world. I think you told me about having McDonald's with Usain Bolt. Like, I've,
behind him in the chicken nugget queue.
Were you following him, or did he know you were there?
Did you steal Usain Bolt's chicken nuggets? Could he catch you?
No, 100% not. I was on a moped.
I think you'd need to. Also, I don't think agility's his game, so a bit of a goose step and a side step, and I think you've got him.
There you go. His ACL would go straight away.
At least that's the only thing I would have in common with Usain Bolt is our ACLs would go.
ACL crew.
Right, yeah, welcome. Right, everyone touch wood. Right, I don't want to do it again.
Please, yeah.
So you have been to the very pinnacle. You stood in the middle of Rio and you felt on top of the world. That's fantastic. But what about when you weren't there? What about when you were the other end of the spectrum? If it's hard to talk about it, then tread carefully for yourself. But I really want to get across that message of even those that are the most elite on the earth, they don't have it easy, as we can say. We can get jealous of their lifestyle apparently and see them in the media and be envious that they're still playing sport during COVID. But Ames, when you were right at rock bottom, how did that feel? And what on earth did you do to claw your way out of it?
So there's two times where I've been not in a good place, and one was after I wouldn't say just the time after I got dropped, but the whole season. I was frustrated because I'd come back from after the Olympics. I was lucky enough to be kind of like the wild card for the World Cup 15 squad. So I went back into 15s with the opportunity to go and play in a World Cup. Had a really frustrating year. I missed the autumn internationals because I tore my hamstring. Playing sevens, I was kind of like a crossover, but I was contracted to the 15s. So I knew if I wanted to go to the World Cup, I had to play rugby because I hadn't played international 15 since my first World Cup, first cap in 2013. I played for club, but not for a couple of years, just focused on sevens, different game, although a lot of similarities, it's very different. I was going in a new position. I'd gone from centre where I'd played before to on the wing, which people may say is not that much different, but it is. It's got different little kind of tweaks, and I knew I had to play. So I tore my hamstring then, and then played in Six Nations. Amazing. Felt I was finding my groove. Played another sevens tournament. Tore my hamstring even worse, and was like, am I going to get back? Managed to get to World Cup squad, but just never felt like I quite got to where I needed to be. And I probably did take a bit of a knock in confidence from that, because I never really reached the potential I knew that I could and I knew I had in me. So then when I went back into sevens the following year, it was a big year again. It was a Commonwealth Games. So again, the women never been in the Commonwealth Games, huge opportunity, another multi-sport contest, one that I was hugely excited about, Gold Coast. So trip to Australia, like what more can you want? And then followed by a World Cup at the end of the season in San Fran. So I was getting,
you do. Rio, Commonwealth Games, San Fran. What were we saying about jet set lifestyle and rugby?
I was jet lagged all the time, though.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, hard life. But I was getting selected for tournaments, but I just wasn't, I didn't have that oomph that I had in the Olympics. Whether it be because my hamstring and not quite getting there, or what, I'm not into. I can't really put my finger on it, but whatever it was, I was kind of a passenger. I would say that was what I can describe myself as. But I was playing, and there was times where I had like glimpses of it, and I was still getting selected and getting game time. So again, I felt like comfortable with my position in the squad. I just knew that I could give more and knew that I wanted more. So it comes to a couple of weeks before the World Cup. So after the World Cup, it works. So we get our time off at the end of the season. So we normally get 4 kind of weeks in the summer where we have a bit of time, own time, still training and building up training again, but a lot lower tempo. And it's about 2 weeks before the World Cup, suddenly we had these contract talks. And I don't want to sound complacent, because I don't think I am a complacent person. And I've always kind of underplayed my ability, rather than, and it's probably my downfall, is I'm not confident enough. I'll always see another person as a threat, whereas actually I need to have the confidence to know what I offer.
Do you think that's something that every athlete struggles with, and that's what keeps them driving, or is that?
No, I don't think it is.
Yourself? I
think you get it more in females,
right.
But I do think there are. Well, I think there are some very confident players out there.
Okay.
But it could
I was one of them.
Somebody would watch it. They'd be like watching an international with me. I don't know why I wasn't selected at 10. Goodness sake.
I was probably injured.
Exactly. There you go.
I've never been dropped.
But then we got to this contract talk 2 weeks before the World Cup, and they were like, sorry, we've got nothing to offer you. And some of the girls didn't get offered sevens, but they got offered 15s. And I was like, well, I didn't get offered anything, nothing. And I was kind of thinking, like, surely there's something that's worth it in there. Surely, like, I'm not done yet. Like, I know I haven't had the best season, but I'm still going to tournaments and everything. And I was like,
how old were you at this time? Like,
this is 2018. I'm 29 now, so you can do the maths quick.
Okay,
so still
you're
massive
mid-20s.
So still a huge amount of like career in terms of career time. You're talking like 5+ years, like at least. So it's not that I was coming to the end of my kind of physical ability. Yeah. So and then what kind of made it even more challenging? I was then selected for the World Cup. So I was kind of like, well, you've dropped me, but you've selected me for, again, something that's seen as a pinnacle in sport. And actually, after the final whistle, I try and find the photo. I've got like this quite powerful photo of me and my best mate. I just started crying on the field, because I was like, this is potentially the last time I might ever put an England shirt on. But then something in me knew that it wasn't going to be. But at the same time, that kind of, like we said before, that little bit of that lack of confidence just kept kind of nagging at me. Saying that maybe it is the last time. Maybe that is it. Maybe that's my innings done.
And how did that really? Honestly, how did that make you feel? Like you're mid to late 20s has worked out using my maths. You are what you think maybe not at the very, very pinnacle of your performance, but you're still putting in a great, effort. You're there. You deserve it. And they turn around and overnight you've had it ripped away from you, and you're still expected to perform for your country, wear the rose, go out, put a brave face on, put a smile on. That is literally like the perfect metaphor for everything people are doing on a day-to-day basis, hiding behind something that really they're not able to talk about, they don't know how to deal with. How did you deal with that very moment when the bombshell's been dropped?
I think at first it didn't sink in, because I think it almost, I don't know, you could say helped or hindered, because I just did have to go and get on with it. I had to go into training the next day or on the Monday, whatever, and I had to play in this tournament. Like you said, there's still no doubt that I'm gonna put on that England shirt and I'm gonna try and perform the best of my ability. It's not in my nature, and I don't think it's in any of the girls' nature to kind of turn around and throw a hissy fit because of it. Like, we're going to put our head down and we're going to do everything we can, and also like to try and prove a little bit of a point, like in the sense that, you know, this is what you're going to be missing out on. Well, I tried to be. I think it was more, and it was an exact conundrum that I said in COVID. So it was almost like I was prepared for it with COVID. It was like, I knew I was sitting, I remember it suddenly sunk in, and I was sitting on my kitchen floor, I was home alone, and I just burst into tears. My dog came up to me, you know how good animals are. And he just came and sat with me, and that set me off even more. And I'm not that emotional person unless it comes to sport. Generally, like, sport kicks me off. But I just remember sitting there and I thought, the thing is, the reason I'm like this is that I know this isn't me walking away. I know I've got to do something. I've got to find a way to get back in there. And I was like, right, I need to go to a 15s club. This is the point where I was like, I'm not enjoying rugby right now. I feel completely undervalued. There was a player that was playing ahead of me. I don't have an issue with someone playing ahead of me if they're performing better, and they were performing well. That's not the issue. But the thing that is hugely disappointing as an athlete is if you're on the bench and this player is walking because they're too tired, and you're still not trusted to then go on the pitch and replace them. And it was that season, that was how it felt. That was like, it was that undervalued. It was that I don't feel valued member of this squad. I know what I can offer. I really just need that push from you. I need somebody to tell me that I'm good enough, and I need to tell you what I need something, and I wasn't getting that. But so I went to WOS, and Giselle Mather is the head coach, who is an incredible coach. She is the top qualified female coach. She's coached men's premiership side. She's now coaching WOS ladies. She has been for the last 3-4 years. And she's like, right, what do you want to do this season? What do you want? And I was like, I want to get back into sevens. She's like, right, we're going to do it. And I was like, great, there's someone here instantly who believes in me. I didn't think, at first she was like, look, we're just going to get you playing. We're just going to get you enjoying rugby again. And that was exactly what happened. I started playing with a smile on my face. I didn't play that well at first, and it took time, again, that adjustment to 15s, but I was getting there, and I was enjoying playing. I loved the team. We were a tight group, a proper family, and they made me feel good about myself again, but also just, we had so much fun. And it was literally 2 months in, I think, if that, I get a phone call from Bales. It was just before Dubai, who was the coach that dropped me, and he was like, Amy, we want you back. And everything in me wanted to be like, F off, like, literally.
You can say it, tell them to fuck off.
I don't know who's watching. Okay, beep it out.
The whole world is going to, I'm telling you, this is going global.
Everything in me wanted to literally be like, go away. I've literally just got my life back on track. School of Hard Knocks, they saved me as well. Again, I got an opportunity to coach School of Hard Knocks. I was coaching rugby to a group of women that were between the ages of 19 and 60, never touched a rugby ball in their life, and we had so much fun. I also used to do the classroom sessions with them, and Jim, if you listen to this, hello, you were a legend. And
you're going to send it to him. He's going to listen. You're going to send it to him.
Exactly. But we go through the classroom sessions. These people were unemployed and they were trying to find work again. So I was kind of going through this similar journey with these ladies from all different backgrounds. And I would hear their struggles and the time they've had. And it was just inspiring to see how they were keeping smiles. Some of them had been through hell and back, and they're keeping positive, keeping a smile on their face. And we were all in it together. So I used to fill in the worksheets with them. And it was like your goals and your SMART goals and everything. And I was like, get a contract again. And I still had 2 weeks of the course left when I started I was like, the deal is I'm going to finish the School of Hard Knocks course. I've committed to 8 weeks. this is when I was with Bales. I was like, it's in Twickenham, so it'll take me 10 minutes after, so I can. There's 2 days a week where I'll only be able to come for the afternoons, but otherwise you've got my commitment. 100%, of course, I want to play for England again. As much as I'm going to want to tell you to piss off, actually, you know that I'm going to be straight back there, and the opportunity to go to Dubai as well.
Ex-boyfriend. It's like, I've made a big mistake.
But yeah, and I remember like Jim coming around the worksheets and everyone was going back on their goals and looking at them, and I'd had this contract and he just put a big fat tick on it, and I was like, yes, I've done it. So yeah, got offered a contract and went to Dubai. So also I had my first World Series in Dubai in 2013, and I'd got in my head that I'm going to break the chain because I'd been to everyone since, and then suddenly I was on the plane there again. So far I haven't missed a Dubai that's been on. Obviously this year it wasn't as postponed, but yeah.
Rio, San Fran, Dubai.
We can go on for a while. I forgot what we're even talking about now, but that's okay. How we dealt with so yeah, for me that one was like a rugby disappointment. So it was more like, as I said, finding that enjoyment, which I did, and when I went back in, I was a different person, but again, then the lesson was to then not take life too seriously, and that's what I learned.
So if I summarise what you said, you say it was a rugby disappointment, but the truth of the matter is it's redundancy. It doesn't matter whether it's rugby, you work in manufacturing, you work down at Tesco's. If that company, for whatever reason, whether it's financial based, whatever, and they don't need you, these people are all around the country, especially right now, more people are going to go through redundancy in the next 18 months than probably ever before in this country. And you've been through that, and you turn around and said, oh, I'm not going to just sit on my ass. I might for a little bit, I might cry in the kitchen, but that's okay too. I'm going to go out and work out what is right for me, what I need to achieve to get myself back to where I want to be. I don't even know where I want to be right now. I just need to keep going to get there. And the learnings I've taken from listening are, you found an incredible leader down at Wasps who just took you under and just said, right, let's go back to basics, let's go back to enjoying it, but ask you the real critical question: where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself going? What's your goal? And you just went, yeah, I want to make up for lost time. I want to go back into it. I don't want to sit around in this lull that I'm in. I want to be actively working towards getting back where I want to be. So that's one community with a leader that's just gone, right, let's work towards that. You're back playing team membership, you started learning again. And then if you look at it from another thing, the next community, School of Hard Knocks, like I've watched that for years growing up. Will Greenwood just running around, yelling at people, taking them to job interviews. Like I've taken a lot from that over the years, not only because I enjoy watching the rugby side of it, but I love getting inspiration from other stories. People are homeless, people are jobless, drug addicts, all these incredible stories we don't hear about unless you're watching the certain programs, now incorporated into rugby, taken through a journey. And then you got to do that. You got to help inspire other people, but they didn't realize that they were inspiring you too. So what I'm trying to say is like helping other people. Like at the moment, one thing I've found in the past 12 months doing what I'm doing, helping other people in the smallest way helps me. It gives me a reason to wake up, like another reason that I enjoy some of the exercise, some of the stupid things that I've been doing. And it's so cool to hear it on a completely different, much larger, broader spectrum than just one man on his Instagram. Like it's so much cool.
I also think as well that I mentioned a lot about feeling valued, and I can guarantee that there's going to be people listening to this now in jobs that they should be able to enjoy, but they're not feeling valued. Too many times, and I'm really passionate about this, we live in a disposable world, which creates this complete undervalue of people. Like people are treated as objects, especially in these kind of big office corporate jobs, is that if you're not doing the job well enough, there's no investment into the person, there's no investment into making them better. It's I'm going to get rid of them and get another person. Whereas actually, if you make somebody feel valued and unlock their potential, that's when you see a real person, the real side of things. And I think, especially over lockdown, people are realizing what industries and what corporations are better at doing this than others, because you see either people falling flat on their face and hitting that rock bottom in terms of maybe they've been made redundant or anything, or you've seen companies diversify and really invest in their employees and make sure that they can work from home. They give them everything they need and give them that value. And I think if you're here listening to this and this resonates with you, have a tough conversation, because if you're not feeling valued and they're not going to change that, then you're probably not in the right place. And be brave and do it, because you only live once and you have got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I love literally, I don't need to say anything on this podcast and people are going to listen to it. Get like, I
might just give you the access code now. You can run the podcast from
now. You're literally here, not just to look good. You're the technical dude. I'll leave that to you. Like, it's fine. No, that's awesome. Right, Amy, I've got a few other questions for you. Are you ready? Where are they now?
It's not the Al Capone one, is it?
No. Al Capone. I think you mean Al Pacino.
Oh, that's the one.
Al Capone would be a much better thing. No, we'll go for that in a minute.
Oh gosh.
Right. No, don't be silly. It's not that bad at all. Firstly, what would you say to your younger you now? Go.
I hate these questions. You usually give me.
I know you do. That's why I've asked you. I'm glad I didn't put a clock on it. Be confident. I've undersold myself for so long, and you've got to realise your worth as a person. It's not being arrogant, it's understanding what you can offer. I still think that I fluked my degree. I went to flipping Bath University and got a 2-1 in engineering. You can't flip in, and I did that being a year as a professional athlete, and this is the trouble. You get into this conundrum of feeling like you're being arrogant. And I honestly was like, oh, they were just kind to me. They gave me a better, because they knew I was busy. They knew I was juggling everything. I was like, maybe I sweet talked them and they gave me a better degree than I should have done. Be confident in what you've achieved. The proof is in the hard work. You're not being arrogant. And you don't have to shout about it, but you need to tell yourself in your own head that you are good enough. If you are, you've got to be realistic sometimes. Sometimes you do have to say, look, I need to go away and work. But if you put in the hard work and you put in the effort, be confident that you have the ability. And I think, as I said, I've undersold myself for so long. I still do it now. It's still a constant battle. But I think especially in my younger days, I probably could have got further, maybe would have got further quicker if I just was like, you are good enough, Amy, and you're going to prove, like, instead of just taking, I don't know, because I did rise to challenges when I got told that I wasn't, but at the same time, would I have got there quicker? Probably, if I'd just been like, it wouldn't have even come to that situation if I just had the confidence in the first place. Cool. Right.
So it sounds like classic imposter syndrome, isn't it? It's, you're making strides in your career or as an athlete or whatever it may be, and you get to a point and you're like, hang on, am I just faking this?
Yeah, literally. And I still do it now, and I'm like, for goodness sake, like, someone would have seen through me by now, surely.
Yeah, I learned how to do everything from Google and YouTube. Does that make me fake? I'm confused.
What are you saying? You can't I could have done it myself. No, that's cool. Like, being confident. I think that's such a crucial message right now. Like, it's hard to be confident because there's just so many variables now. Like, when we were growing up, there wasn't like internet dating that you had to someone to swipe right or left to. There wasn't social media. Someone you want 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 likes or 100 followers. Like, so if you can be confident within yourself and trust in what you're doing, then yeah, like that's such a cool message for the younger you. Right, I'm going to move swiftly on. Woodpecker.
Will you do a challenge for 25 hours? No.
25 hours? I'm sure.
Well, I'm comparing you with Jono.
Yeah, so one of your new things you're doing, we'll briefly touch on that, because I think it's awesome. You invited me on, absolutely love doing your morning class with you. So let's touch on that quickly, and then we can talk about his challenge, and we'll go on to the challenges, all things fitness after. So, go on, tell us all about you go, tell us what kind of platform it is, tell us how it's helped you as well, because I know by having a distraction like that and helping other programs for people, how that's helped you over the past couple of months.
I think it was definitely one of those things that came along at the right time, and I completely jumped on board with it. So Jono he used to be the South African women's strength conditioning coach, and he branched off from South African rugby a few years ago, and it was kind of getting to that point where I was like, okay, I really need to find something like substantial to pay my mortgage, because at the moment I'm relying on little bits here and there. There's just not enough, and I put so much pressure on you as a living. So look, we've got this amazing platform. We started in lockdown, basically doing these virtual HIT, lit, or whatever classes every morning for people to get on board with. They can do them from the comfort of their own home. You have a certain amount for free, then it's pay a subscription, etc., etc. Boomed in South Africa over lockdown. We want to branch out to the UK. We've got a lot of UK like expats, be it, or just some members just of English people that have just switched on to it. They want to set up a completely different platform. We'd love you to kind of head it up over there. And I was like, well, at the moment, I am doing what I get up, I train, and I look around for some ideas, and then that's it. So it's like a perfect opportunity to not only get that routine back in my life, but do something I love. It's active, and it's this whole thing about community. And as you said, Charlie, like helping people in these tough times to get through it and doing it together. Because there were times in lockdown I felt so isolated. I got into a really, really horrible place, and I felt completely alone. And I was like, I don't want anyone to feel like that. And this is a perfect tool. If we can spread it in the UK to really make sure that people know that they're not alone, and we can be this virtual community, and we do it by getting fit, getting active, and living a healthy lifestyle. And it just, it's added a routine in my life. It gives me 4 extra sessions a week to do as well. Sometimes I get Charlie involved. And you can see, I just move here, see my banner. Jeff is the new Live the Jeff life. So like 4 mornings a week I'm there doing, but it's so much more than just the 4 mornings a week. As I said, it's the WhatsApp group is part of an incredible community and helping people through what is an extremely tough time.
So if for the people that are going to be at home right now listening to this, how would they go about getting involved? What do they type into Google? How do they get involved with that?
So multiple platforms, but the main one is Facebook, because we like that interaction. So we stream it live through Facebook. You search Jeff, JEFF UK, Jeff Together, UK on Facebook, and that will bring up the UK page, and you become a member. And all of my classes are free, but if you want to experience like the whole package, and it's up to 50 classes a week, it's literally £9.50 a month, which if you compare that to a gym membership, it's nothing. But you're also a part of a community. So, and they're tough. I mean, there's if you I try and make my classes so obviously they cater for everyone, but if you're incredibly fit, you'll get just as much of a demand as you would if you were not so fit and starting your fitness journey. So it's a good way, and people comment in and you get regulars, so it's really nice. I can tune into people that join all my classes, see how they're doing. So it's great. Yeah.
Shout out to Greg.
Yeah. Greg was there this morning. Greg and Chris.
An absolute legend. So what I really liked about your platform, separate, I've done hundreds of different workouts through lockdown. Some I've written myself, some from the community. What I liked about yours is it wasn't just let's get together, let's have a workout, let's talk about it. Like you woke up, you get people having a coffee beforehand, you have that 10 minutes kind of that interaction, so you understand the people that you're giving exercises to. You create that bond and that trust and that friendship. But if someone didn't fancy a workout that morning, they could still log on and have coffee and see you guys go, what, I'm not fancying it, but I'll have coffee with you. And
definitely,
especially in a lockdown, having a coffee with a group of people or another individual, that interaction, you can't replace that right now. Like, it's so crucial. So when I came on and did that, one of the things I was absolutely blown away just by not even the comments during the workout, but it was just like, right, how's everyone's day? How's everyone's morning? And people generally cared about you. And that, I just thought that was awesome. Yeah,
and I do have a group of people that I know don't do the sessions, or they do the sessions later, but they tune in for the chat. So maybe they're about to when kids were at school, they maybe would take their kids at school, so you didn't have time to do the workout there and then, but it would be like, hi, Ames, just tuning in to say hello, how are you doing? And it is, and I say to the guys all the time who do my classes, it's easy to see the instructor and think of them as a different person, but it's the same for me. It's like, I love getting up and talking to these people. Like, I'm getting up at 5:45, but I'm excited about it. And whenever I finish, I've got a smile on my face and I've loved what I've just done. So they've helped again. It's like with School of Hard Knocks, these guys at Jeff have helped me just as much as hopefully I can help them.
That's so cool. Amazing. That's awesome. I keep repeating myself because everything you keep saying is spot on. It's just nice to hear the message not come out of my, I keep saying it to other people, but it's actually
it's so bad. I'm so sorry.
I think one of the most beautiful things from today has just been the real sense how important community is. Amy, you were saying earlier about last year when your coach was speaking to you and he said there's more to life than rugby. And there's very few times in my life that I haven't had that real family community aspect than I have done with playing rugby. And whether that be work, you know, I'm there 40 hours a week, and then they just say wave goodbye on a Friday, and work's more important than home life. And what you get from rugby is just a community like no other. And I think it's so important, whether it be rugby or football, any sport, or even if you don't play sport, that you find that community of people that you can rely on, whether it's at 6:15 in the morning on or whether it's like me waking up at 8
in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, yeah.
I'm not live, just so you know.
So, you know, moving on, we keep talking about community. I think that's one of the key aspects about why, you know, I created Woodpecker WOD, was like, I know so many different communities, certain gyms all around the UK that I've been using and love using, different rugby clubs, different hobbies like skateboarding. Like, I didn't want to be the spearhead or forefront of it. I just wanted to let people know that it's okay to talk about some of the darker times. It's cool to plan some exciting things. And if I can do a mad challenge that gets people talking or changes the way people wake up and feel, then that's absolutely awesome. So with this next one, Amy, are you going to lace up and come for a run with me?
What's your split time? I only do things I can win at.
Right, okay. So if I let you in, and I'm going to say I'm going to let you in. So which part are you going to do? You're going to do the first half marathon, the last half marathon, or are you going to do a strong woman event?
You know, I only do like 200 meters at a time, max.
Amy, if you're there for the last 200, I'll take it. But
Charlie, I would love to.
That's
I would
awesome.
love to be involved.
So for those that don't know and are listening in, as I'm addressing the camera and the microphone now, I've set a challenge at the end of July. I will be doing a half marathon in the morning, first thing, taking part in Lancing Strongman competition during the day, and then I'll be finalising with a half marathon to finish. Now, it's pretty ludicrous, but we've all had tougher challenges in life, I'd say. So it's going to be a massive campaign. It's about teaching people that collectively we are strong. So that is going to kick off quite soon, and I should really start running a bit more. But so, Amy, if you're going to be there, I'd love you to be there. If you're not, which I will kick your ass if you're not, I need you now to give me your biggest Al Pacino any given Sunday speech. Inch by inch, like minute by minute play. I'm going to get everyone on my podcast to give me you can either address it to me as an individual because you've known me for years, or you can just give me like, I need you to keep running, like blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is you want to do. The show is yours now, whether it's 10 seconds or a minute. Give me your best impression, because then what producer Joe's going to do is he's going to take all of these clips, and when I'm suffering from cramp, my hamstring's gone, I've failed a deadlift, and I've still got to run 13.5 miles, I've probably just had a can of Red Bull and a banana, I'm putting the headphones on that will look something like this. I might have a few people running with me, but if I can collectively get an awesome story from people on the podcast to just say, this is it. I literally want you to go and give me your Al Pacino speech now. Go on, go.
To be honest, I have had practice, because in my 1 minute or 30 seconds over and above, this is basically what they do at the end of Jeff. So are you ready?
Okay, go. Mate, give me spine tingling. Go.
Oh, God. No, you put too much pressure on me now.
We'll look the other way.
Yeah. Charles Mears, you are going to keep going. You're going to keep putting one foot in front of the other, one by one. You did not do this to give up. You know that your body has got more. You know that you're not going to give up, because if you give up, you're not only letting yourself down, but you're letting others down that you have promised to do this for. You're doing this for a big reason. There's a big picture involved. You're creating awareness. You're helping communities. You're helping individuals. And if you dare give up, you're giving up for them, not just for you. So It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful, but you're going to put one foot in front of the other, and we are all going to be there with you. We're going to be there behind you, and you're going to keep going till the very, very end. And do you know what? When you finish, you are going to feel so fucking good because you have not given up, and you are going to do it, and you're going to keep going for everybody that Woodpecker WOD is all about.
Yeah. Wait there. Mike, drop. Amy, that was absolutely awesome. Right, now we've just got to see what other people come up with, because I might just have to stick that on repeat.
It'll be a lot better, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll print that as a script next time, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure some people are going to blow me away. Some people are going to stumble and be putting like rabbit in the headlights. Like, I guess that's what it's about. But, you know, coming from someone that I've known for so long, just if I stick it on repeat and just run it, I'm sure I'll be okay. But there are, you know, when you're training some of these long events, or even when you're participating in them, you get lost in your mind. You travel on you're literally, not only are you traveling on a journey, whether it's across a 9-hour period of an exercise or 3 exercises, whatever it is, or 2,200 silly burpees, your mind goes on this journey. And if you can use things you recognize to kind of rein you back into either why you started, why you're doing it, like, and people that inspire you, like, that just keeps you that grounded and that focused, and it stops you thinking those negative thoughts like, the cramp I'm going through now is too much. I haven't eaten the right things. I should have eaten more last night. I should have trained harder. Like, if you can stay away from those negative thoughts and use the people and community around you to focus, you'll get through any of those events. Like, there's none of the events I've done this year, or last year now, should we say, there's no one, pretty much anyone could have done them. Literally anyone. Yeah,
I think there's an incredible guy, again, I'm going back to Jeff, but a guy called Darren Thomas who's just started doing the Jeff, he's training Jono on Fridays, and he's got no legs, he's just upper body. And he's always like, flip the switch. And he's like, your mind's the bit that's stopping you. Your body can always give 40% more than you think you can. But I also, as you said, along that, if you keep those whys and you keep the reason you're doing something in your head, it's so important, because I think it's easy, and this is me as an athlete who trains every day for a purpose, and I know it's easy to have a purpose when you're an athlete, but I always say to the people training with me, it's like, you're all here for a reason. Keep that in the back of your head, because we all have doubts. I'll be running and I'll be like, oh, I think my knee hurts a bit, I might do 1 rep less. But you know what, I flip it around and I'm like, why am I doing it? No, my knee doesn't hurt, you're just being an absolute pansy. You're going to keep going, you're going to keep pushing through because you want to get to the Olympics. And it's 100% that. It's keeping those negative thoughts and just keeping that focus on why you were doing something, because everyone has a reason as to why.
See, can we edit that bit in as well? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, see, you know, it's been awesome, you know, chatting about all things struggles, and I want to end on a high. I really do, because I think it's crucial that, as much as the metaphor is, you know, Amy, your career and your life has been on a roller coaster for the past 4 months, and myself, I've had some pretty highs and some pretty lows too. Joe, we talked about it the other week. Actually, you opened up as well, man. So, what would you say to someone now to help them find their trigger, Amy? What, you know, would you recommend? For me, I recommend obviously going out and speaking to friends, because that's how eventually that helped me. I mean, I was lucky. Like, Kerry was my trigger. There's no two ways about it. My beautiful fiance, should have been wife by now, but unfortunately COVID and all that blah blah. Now, she was my trigger. One day she looked at me, she came out to the car, and I just knew I needed to seek help. She didn't realise what she was doing. I was just lucky. But if you haven't found your trigger and you're still waiting and you're in that gutter, what would you say to someone, Amy, to tell them to hold on and just keep fighting?
It's so tough, because when you're in that place, you do feel so alone, and it is a horrible, horrible place to be. But you need to reach out to people, you really do, and you have to be so bloody brave to do it. And I didn't for a long time. You didn't, Charlie, for a long time, and we potentially could have got out of a dark situation a lot quicker if we'd just been brave and we just opened our mouth and talked to people, because you have got people around you that care. You don't have to speak to everyone. And actually, the people that you perceive as being your closest sometimes aren't the best people to speak to. Like, it's not always necessary. You may need someone that you can just trust to just talk, and someone who you know that's just going to listen, not trying to give you advice, not give you any. You don't want someone bullshitting you and coming up to you telling you like, oh yeah, I felt like that too, because everyone's unique. What I felt when I'm low is completely different to how Charlie felt, and everyone has a unique story. But pick carefully about who you're speaking to. But as I said, in lockdown, I got to a really dark place. And I have huge regrets now that I didn't reach out sooner, and I didn't reach out to the amazing communities that I do have, whether it be part of a sports team, whether it be a part of a fitness group, whatever it is. Reach out to these small little communities that you've had, because people are there to help you. And honestly, like, you shouldn't be feeling the way you are if you're feeling down. Like, it's not right. You've got a whole life ahead of you that is full of exciting opportunities. And you've got to be brave. We've got you. Do it.
Love that. Awesome, Amy. That is just unreal. Like, I think that's such a positive way to end, because it is such an important message. So thank you.
Keep chipping.